Hello and welcome. Katie here. Thanks so much for stopping by my channel. Today I'm excited to be joining you to celebrate my friend Kendra over at Cards by Kendra. She is celebrating her 1,000 subscriber milestone here on YouTube, and I couldn't be happier for her. We've got some exciting prizes and sponsors, so be sure and leave a comment below and to follow along on the hop. The link to the next person is listed at the top of my description box below. You can also follow along with the hashtag Cards by Kendra 1K hop. I'll also link that as well. That way you can just click that if you get lost along the way, and that's going to take you to everybody that's participating on the hop. So for today's project, we had the option to case a card, pick a technique, or use one of the card sketches from one of her card challenges. I chose to case one of her cards. Now mine are going to be a little bit different. I didn't have the purple glimmer paste that she had, so I thought I would make my own. And as you can see here, mine are a lot different, but it really gives you some versatility, the technique that I'm going to show you, so that you don't need to necessarily go out and buy a bunch of things. So the product I'm going to be using today is the Moonstone Glimmer Paste from Nuvo. I've got Plum Blossom Pigment Powder. That's one of my Procyon dyes. I've got some Silver Delicata ink. I've got some snowflakes from the Yuletide Snowflake die set from Spellbinders. I'm going to be using this silver glitter cardstock from Crafter's Companion, and I've got a holographic silver cardstock that I picked up at Walmart. Now, I've also got this layering stencil, snowflake stencil from Lawn Fawn. And I tried really hard to do the whole panel with the glimmer. But because this is a layering stencil, when I go to put the second layer on, I could never get a clear impression of that glimmer paste. And it just looked horrible, honestly. So I opted to take this Delicata Silvery Shimmer ink and use that as one of my layers. And then use the second layer as, you know, my glimmer paste. So here I've taken some of that Moonstone Glimmer Paste and my pigment powders, and you don't have to use pigment powder, but you can. Any of them will work, or you can use a re-inker, or you can use your ink pads to create this. And what's nice is that you don't have to have every color of those glimmer pastes, because you can really create your own with some of the inks that you already have. So here I'm just going to, you know, smear that around and apply that like you're icing a cake and get all of that in there. And what I love about the pigment powders is that you can see those streaks of pink and things like that, and there's some blue. You get some of that variation when you use pigment powders, because to create different colors of pigment powders, you're mixing colors together, different pigments together. So here I'm going to show you another thing. I needed something a little bit more personalized to stamp my sentiment, the Let It Snow sentiment. So I made my own pigment ink. So if you just take a white re-inker, and in this case I'm using the Plum Blossom pigment powder. Now you again could use your ink pads, you could use a re-inker, you can, you know, all you need is a white pigment ink, and then any other color, however you come by it, to create your own pigment inks. And then I'm using a sponge dauber to apply it. Now, the sentiment I'm using is Let It Snow, and that comes from the Simon Says Stamp Comfort and Joy stamp set. And here, I didn't hold my cardstock down, so I'm having to reline it up. Usually, this is not successful. I usually have to just start all over again, but I actually was able to line it up, and I didn't have to do it again. So I'm going to put some more ink on my little sponge dauber, and then I'll ink up my stamp again and apply that ink. I do want to mention that if you haven't yet to subscribe to the channel, I would love it if you would. Make sure you ring the bell and select all notifications. That way you're notified each time a video has been uploaded. I'm also trying to get to my 1,000 subscriber milestone, and I can't do it without you guys, so I'd really appreciate it if you click that subscribe button to help get me to my 1,000 subscriber milestone. Okay, so I quickly showed you that I used a 3D embossing folder, snowflake embossing folder from Sizzix on a piece of pearlized vellum, and I die cut that out with one of my circle dies. And now I've taken that Spellbinders that you see there on the right, sentiment die, and I cut out some strips, sentiment strips. I layered those up 4 times, and now I've adhered my die cut snowflakes in the holographic and silver glitter cardstock and added them to that piece of circle vellum that I embossed, and just adding some liquid glue to the back of that, and then I'll take something heavy to apply it down. I did the die cutting and the pieces off camera simply to save some time because there are a lot of people participating on the hop, and I want to make sure you guys get to see everybody. So this was an afterthought, these strips. I did some Stardream Metallic in Ruby, and then I also do it in the Stardream Metallic in Silver for the lighter version of this card. And so I trimmed the panel down to 4 by 5 1/4, and then I added these strips. So there's going to be a little bit of a gap on the top and the bottom, but I really liked the Stardream Metallic on the sides of the card panel because it really kind of brings your focus into the center of the panel. And you don't overly notice, you know, the top and the bottom white space from the card base. So here I'm just trimming everything away. I do want to mention the Let It Snow on the darker snowflake panel, which I did in my amethyst pigment powder. That Let It Snow stamp I was able to match it up with the VersaFine Clair in Monarch. So that purple ink that it's stamped in is Monarch from VersaFine Clair. Now I couldn't get the sentiment strip to adhere with the liquid glue onto that holographic cardstock, so I just used a piece of score tape to adhere that down. That size was 1/4 inch. I do want to let you know that all the products are going to be listed in the description box below, so if you know any of this stuff interests you, there will be some links down below. Some of them are affiliate links, and I do appreciate it if you click those links because it does help out my channel. Okay, so a little bit of liquid glue, and now I'm going to add it to my card base. Now my card base is the Accent Opaque 100 pound. I talked about this in another video. I used the 120 pound in that video, and I really like it, and the 100 pound is great too. So if you don't want such a heavyweight card base, then the 100 pound is really, really nice too. But that's going to finish up the cards, my friends. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I want to thank you all so much for joining me today. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you in the next video.